Good morning. Welcome. This is the discussion segment of Good Morning Anambra today. How are you? Well, I've already sensitized you on what we're about to talk about today, which is the essence of our living, the role of oxygen plants in strengthening healthcare system. And then the second person is Dr. Afam Anieme. Dr. Afam Anieme is the Director of Public Health, Ministry of Health, Anambra State. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning, the Anambra Munem.
Okay. Yeah, you've heard what we're going to look at this morning, which is the role of oxygen plants in strengthening healthcare system. You'll be wondering, what is oxygen plant? Is it the plant? Of course, we all know what they told us when we were in primary school. That is the plant that, what they call it, produce oxygen and also absorb carbon. They were okay, carbon dioxide, I hope. So not that kind of plants behind your house, okay? So that's why they're here to tell us that apart from that plant, there's another plant again that can produce oxygen and then keep us alive. Okay, now let's begin by explaining to our people what is oxygen in the first place and why do we even need it. Let me start with you, Doc.
Thank you very much. Oxygen is, as I said, let's begin by explaining what oxygen is. Oxygen is a gas. You don't see it, but in the laboratory it can be produced and tested and show this is oxygen. But that's not what we are here today for, because oxygen is naturally there in the air, provided by, for us Christians, the God himself. Yes, and some people will say provided by nature for those who are not Christians. So oxygen is there, constituting about 22% of the volume of air we have in anywhere in the planet Earth. So that's where oxygen is. And essentially, what does it do? It helps us carry along in life. Without oxygen, nobody survives. You need it for a number of metabolism and production of energy and so on and so forth. So we inhale it to keep the body going, and when we inhale it, then the end product, when we finish whatever our body uses oxygen to do, then the next thing that comes out is carbon dioxide, which the body does not need, and we'll get that out through our nostrils. Not only humans need oxygen. Humans need oxygen. Animals alike also need oxygen. But of course, what is our business today with animals? Our business here today is for us humans. Why must we discuss oxygen in a day like this? Why must the whole world say, let's set out a day aside for discussion of oxygen and why oxygen must be made available? Then if an individual is not able to use his oxygen, that's why we must have somewhere where that oxygen must be produced and have technicalities that will have to be involved and get it to that person for the person to survive. That's the importance of oxygen.
Okay, thank you very much. Now that we have seen the primary definition of oxygen, let us now come to you, Amaka, and say, what is oxygen plant?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
In order to support what my doctor has said, oxygen is the odorless, tasteless, and the colorless gas essential for living organisms. Now, when you talk about oxygen plant is that building where you set up some machines, equipment that traps air, processes it, filters it, and produces pure medical oxygen for human consumption. So at the Anambra State Oxygen Production Plants, that's where we produce the medical oxygen that we give to the hospital. And today we're here to celebrate World Oxygen Day, because there are some people who cannot breathe normal due to diseases. Mm-hmm. And there's people like that are the people that need medical oxygen.
Okay. So the plant, the place where you produce the oxygen to sustain somebody that cannot be able to, breathe on his or her own. Okay, it's what we call oxygen plant. Oxygen. Okay, thank you very much. So World Oxygen Day, 2nd December. And from what I read before now, that it started 2023, was
yes.
it? Okay. So what is the essence of World Oxygen Day?
Okay, well, the essence of World Oxygen Day is to celebrate people who, in one way or the other, survive through oxygen, through medical oxygen. And also to create an awareness for people to know, like in the Western world, they have availability and people have access to medical oxygen, unlike the some of the aspects of the world, especially this side of the world. So this awareness is to create, is to make people aware of situations that will need oxygen, and to make other people, people like us, the medical oxygen plants, the medical oxygen plants, for us to be able to let the world know that we are producing medical oxygen and is affordable and is accessible. Because Mr. Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, CFR, has given the mandates to me, 3 mandates. 1, to make sure of the availability of pure medical oxygen. 2, make sure it's affordable to the Anambra.
Pure medical oxygen?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Pure medical oxygen, you know, you have a different oxygen. You have the industrial and you have the pure medical oxygen. The one for the pure medical oxygen is the one for human consumption. But the other one is the industrial, the one they use in cutting metals and doing all sorts of things at the industrial aspect of the use of it, yes.
What are you saying? Something?
Okay, yeah, so the 3 mandate that was given to me is to make sure of the availability, affordability, and accessibility to the Anambra. And by His grace, we have been able to keep up to that mandate. And by so doing, Anambra State Government, through the help of Mr. Governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, is helping to achieve the 2030 Sustainable Development Goal of reducing under 5 mortality rates to 25 per 1,000 life births. So being able to produce, make it affordable and accessible to the Anambra is what we're all about today. Because according to World Health Organization, about 625,000 deaths, lack of medical oxygen in the hospital accounts for 625,000 deaths per year in Anambra, in Nigeria. Because people could not access it. People could not afford it. But Mr. Governor has made it affordable, accessible, and available in Anambra State oxygen production plant. So we are calling our people, whenever you have needs for this, the hospitals, please come. We run 24 hours. We are available at all times.
You are calling on individuals, or you're calling on hospital managers from other hospitals to assess it. Is it a direct thing? Can I come and get oxygen from you?
No, you can't come and assess it directly from. But why I'm calling on individuals is that in a situation whereby you get to the hospital, maybe private hospitals, and unfortunately the hospital doesn't have availability. But when you remember that you have once been sensitized that Anambra State oxygen production plant runs 24 hours and available at all times, you can be able to say to the hospital, can you go to Anambra State oxygen plants to get oxygen? They run 24 hours. They are accessible, affordable, and available at all times.
Okay, that's good. And available. Okay. But I hope it's not free. Is it free?
Well, it's not free.
No free lunch anywhere. Okay, let's not go there. Let's not go there. Okay, Doc, when do we say that somebody needs oxygen as a medical doctor? When do you now say that this person cannot help him or herself? Let's apply oxygen, external oxygen for the person.
This is huge because, thank you, Doc, my sister, the MD oxygen plant, for you and the governor working around the clock to make sure this oxygen is available, affordable, and accessible. Yeah, because we, as a medical doctor, that's why I say we, I'm one of them, even though I do less of that medical work now, I do more of public health. But when we have need to go out, because we often go out, find out that the need of oxygen is always arising. It's always, in fact, the word is always, it's always arising at the facilities. And what are they? What are they? For a simple man, for a lay person out there, I will reduce the terminology so that people out there can easily understand. Anything that will make anybody to be breathing fast. Once somebody is breathing fast, everybody saying even at you also breathing fast. That may be an indication for oxygen. And another way of finding it out is also once you look at somebody's face and you look at the nose, the one pointing my nose, the soft part of the nose, once you see it begin to jerk up, we call it fluorescence. Once you see the nose begin to jerk up this way, then that person is asking for more oxygen.
The person, a patient, or just if I start breathing fast as I am?
I've said one. One is spelled who is breathing fast may have a need for oxygen. The other person is the one who is even breathing slowly may have a need for oxygen. Then the one that is almost certain that person requires oxygen is more than he's getting naturally, is once you begin to see the nose jerk up and down. be it a neonate, a newborn baby, be it an infant, be it a school child, be it an adolescent, whatever the disease condition is, and the person is having flaring, the nose is moving up and down as the person is naturally breathing, that person is actually asking for oxygen. If you can remove the person's shirts and you see indrawing, you see the gaps between the ribs, between our ribs, and you see that the thing is popping up and going in and out, we call it intercostal recession or chest indrawing. I wouldn't like to go into a lot of medical terminologies, but once you see such thing, in, out, there are disease conditions that can give this, but I'm trying to avoid mentioning those names. So these two things tell you that this person is in desperate need of oxygen. Some of them may pull through with normal atmospheric oxygen. But where somebody dies because of that and you don't have medical oxygen by the side, it becomes a disaster. It's a catastrophic thing. And nobody wants to hear that. And that's why all of us in the medical field is hailing Mr. Governor for creating it. Not all states have this oxygen plant, I'm sure. I'm sure. Not every state in this country have this oxygen plant. So doctors are being sensitized today. All health workers, nurses, pharmacists, everybody is being sensitized today about the use of oxygen. There must be oxygen at every health facility, be it primary health care, be it secondary, be it tertiary. Of course, in tertiary hospital, they can't do without oxygen. It's always there. So these are the indications of the use of oxygen. And it's everywhere and it's occurring every time.
Okay, the MD, CEO, what is the patronage like?
Well, like I say, like 60% patronage.
Really?
Yeah, but we're still going on, Mr. Governor, Professor Chukuma.
Can we look at the various stages of hospitals that come, private, mission, government hospital, which people come more for gas? For oxygen, sorry.
Tertiary hospitals, teaching hospitals come more.
Okay.
Because,
are our private hospitals well sensitized about accessibility of this oxygen?
Yes, our private hospitals are well sensitized. Some of them do come. However, some of them, because most of these private hospitals don't have their personal cylinders, so they depend on dealers who gives them their cylinders.
Okay, if you want to access oxygen, you come with your cylinder.
Yes. However, Mr. Governor Professor Chukuma Soludo CFR have actually made available 200 cylinders.
Beautiful. That's what I want to hear.
And he has ordered more 300 are on the way coming, because he's one of his mission is to make sure, because when you are healthy, you will be wealthy.
Exactly.
You know, he wants to make a prosperous and livable Anambra state. It's a very green Anambra state. That is what he's looking at. And he can achieve that if the Anambra is not healthy. Okay.
That's cool. Let's get down to the business of the day. If eventually somebody accesses oxygen and what is the process? Let me just ask you.
Okay, well, in a situation where these are one of the reasons why we're here, to sensitize the masses on where they should lay emphasis on, or where they can assist the medical professionals at the hospitals. When you bring your person to the hospital and there's a need for oxygen, things you need to look out for is understand that the oxygen max is not reusable. It's 1 person per oxygen max.
Oxygen mask is this one that you cover face with?
There's rebreathable. The one for the children, they just a cable put in the nose.
Okay.
And there is rebreathable, and there is the one that covers the face, depending on the circumstance.
No, you've got to explain this to us now. I know there's this one that they just put pipe, in the nose. There's this one they cover mask, the mask itself, plastic mask they cover your nose with. Is there your face with? Is there another one apart from these two?
They have different versions.
Oh, really?
There's one they call rebreathable. It has the kind of like a balloon or something.
Okay. Apart from the rebreathable, every other one is disposable.
All of them is disposable. One person per one. Once you use it, because in order to avoid cross infection, you are breathing into it. So there could be a possibility of some mucus left over in the pipe, and then you transfer it to the next person. So that's why when you get to the hospital and your child or your sister or your person needs oxygen to survive, oxygen is part of the treatment, make sure that the nurse or the doctor that's trying to administer the oxygen brings a brand new oxygen face mask. And also the distilled water in the humidifier is not reusable. There is a distilled water in the humidifier. It's not reusable.
That water that pumps like as if it's boiling?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's not reusable. Once a patient is done with the usage of medical oxygen, it has to be discarded for the next person to use it. And also the regulator on the oxygen, once it gets to like 500 or 50, depending on the reading, because you have different readings, call the attention of the medical doctor or the nurses to be able to change it, because there is no longer enough oxygen in the plant, in the cylinder.
It has different readings. Can you tell us the category of the reading?
Okay, there is one that comes in 500, 600 and all. There's one that comes in 50, 100, depending on you have different regulators. But if you're able to understand, there's one that has color signs. You have the red, the green, and the yellow. Once it's on the yellow, it's telling you to get ready to stop. Once it's on red, please remove. So when you're able to understand all this, because in some hospitals, you find out that they're using one face mask, one oxygen mask for more than 2 or 3 patients. And by so doing, you are transferring, you're sharing diseases, because you don't know what the first patient, the problem the first patient is suffering from, and you're transferring it to the next person. You know, so these are the things we need to make our people know about it, and then when they get to the hospital, they can be able to make sure that they are given the proper treatment that they deserve.
Okay. Dr. Anyeme, would you say that our doctors in different hospitals, apart from the tertiary hospital, are actually making use of this provision by the state government?
Certainly not all of them are making use of it, particularly those in the private sector. Many of them are not using it, and reasons I do not know. I don't think it's acceptable that a hospital will run without an oxygen. It's not acceptable that a hospital will run, particularly a secondary center like general hospitals and private hospitals, where a doctor is. Such a place cannot afford to run without an oxygen cylinder and all the gadgets that is required to deliver oxygen, because emergencies do go to such places, and often those emergencies require oxygen. I'm a doctor quite all right, but I've had a need to receive oxygen myself as a person. Yes, in 2010 or 2011, thereabouts, I had this severe chest pain for which I was administered oxygen in the teaching hospital. So assuming if there was no oxygen then, I wouldn't be here now, I would have gone. So oxygen is so important, and that is why we are here today, to sensitize those, particularly me, the clinician, the doctor that is here.
Before you go on with the sensitization, you have just established that most hospitals, especially private hospitals, are not using this oxygen. And then you are the Director of Public Health, Ministry of Health, Anambra State. What are you doing to ensure that you compel them to use oxygen to save lives, Anambra people's life?
Well, that is... I'm Director of Public Health, quite all right, but the use of oxygen is domiciled in the Department of Medical Services. But I'm here, once we talk about sensitization, then public health, these things have synergy. We have meeting points. When you talk of sensitization, the MD told me we have to sensitize people to it. I said, no, as Director of Public Health, I have to cancel every routine and be part of this sensitization. Yes. But that notwithstanding, we have even had a training this year here in the Ministry of Health, where we thought clinicians selected across the states. Everybody mustn't be selected. We selected a few based on the available resources. Not really a few, but about 1/3 of the facilities, and trained them on what we call the help the babies breathe. Help the babies breathe.
Okay.
Because use of oxygen is so much wherever delivery is taking place. In fact, oxygen has to be ready when a delivery is about to occur, because some babies will come out and refuse to breathe. Then part of the things you do It's not immediately administering oxygen anyway. We will do some cardiac massage, some resuscitative measures, use of ambu bag and so on. But if it gets to certain time and the baby is not breathing, you have to bring in oxygen. And where there's no oxygen, that baby just have to die. Particularly these days, what do you tell a mother or a parent that have gone through infertility for some time, for years, and God managed to give them just one baby, and the baby comes out, it's not breathing, and you tell them the baby is dead because oxygen is not there. Come on. Nobody will accept that. So we've had that training. We have also gone around the state. That was where I met the singular fact that the oxygen is not available in every private facility. We did oxygen assessment.
Okay.
Yes, and we found out that a good number of our private facilities, we didn't go everywhere because there's never a time you will be able to go everywhere. But we selected a few, random sampling, and we visited a few places and found out that this oxygen is not available in some of them. Some have, some really have, and we've noted that. And that was actually even what led to the desensitization and even the development of other oxygen. It dealt with us so badly during the COVID-19 era. There was none across the country. And so we happen to be one of the states where the governor said, this cannot be following us again. We have to develop and start making oxygen in Anambra here. So it's part of a few things we have done. We have trained people, or we are still doing from time to time. We'll monitor the places, and see those places that we saw that didn't have oxygen. Have you now gotten? We still do that at intervals today. And there has been some slight improvement in places that have acquired this oxygen and begin to use them because we now have a plant. Because one of the clinicians then said, we go to Delta, we go to this place, we go to this place to assess.
I knew that was what
and that is why we didn't have
COVID-19
exactly.
era.
But now that we have an oxygen plant,
state.
the recent ones we did now, the recent supervisory visits we did, have shown that there is some slight increment in the availability of those oxygen in those facilities, but not all still have it, and that has necessitated why we are here today.
Sorry,
again.
please, there's a correction I need to make. It's very, very important because I'm privy to that information. In 2019, then I was the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor and General Hospital. I'm an American Certified Medical Manager, trained to manage medical doctors, nurses, and medical facilities.
Beautiful.
So during the course of my duty in the general hospitals, I and my colleague Dr. Ekunife made a suggestion, put up a proposal to Anambra State Governor to build oxygen plants. That was 2019, and that oxygen plant was built 2019 and commissioned 2019. And we didn't know that COVID is by the way. And when COVID struck in, that oxygen plant, under the leadership of Dr. Ibezim, who is now the Deputy Governor, was given free medical oxygen, not only to Anambra, but to the neighboring states. That medical oxygen plant saved so many lives during COVID, you know. So I am very proud of Anambra State government. I'm very proud of the previous administration and current administration. I give special thanks to Professor Charles Chukwu Masaludo CFR for being able to sustain till date that medical oxygen plant, because that has been saving lives since days of COVID till today. Okay. So we are calling on Anambra to please know that we are available, accessible, and affordable.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. We'll talk to some people concerning what we are talking about today on the streets anyway. So they add their view. We're going to listen to them, watch them talk, and when we come back, we'll see what is going to happen today being the World Oxygen Day. Okay, take a look.
Their work because of
as we all know that oxygen is one of the basic and essential resources that nature has given us to survive. When oxygen is contaminated, automatically we know that the healthcare sector will have a lot of issues. Personally, for me, I feel that when oxygen plants are made much available, it can be utilized in the healthcare sector, in the sense that these oxygens can be harnessed for those that have issues with breathing and all of that. We also know that oxygen coming from the natural source, that's the trees, are much more reliable than normal. So when these trees are available, when they are provided, it can help patients, those that have difficulty in breathing. It's also improve the overall general health of people, because when there are less trees, oxygen will be less, and when there is less oxygen, it can be a lot of problems.
I think you're talking about oxygen technology. That's artificial oxygen, the one we use in terms of emergencies and what have you in hospitals and other medical related facilities. Okay, first of all, you cannot understate the importance of oxygen, because as a normal human being or any living thing anywhere, we need oxygen to survive. So when there's an emergency, if the person is not responding, that's talking about the medical practitioners or even paramedics, first responders and all those things need to be readily available to manage blood pressures and everything related to the person's health. So first of all, before any other thing, the person needs to be breathing first, a clear airway for the lungs and everything. So how important it is, all of us they breathe now, so it's important. Then how do we sustain it? A lot of factors come in play to sustain it. Major of the factor is uninterrupted power supply. That one is one. When the person gets to the hospital, they need power supply to constantly provide that artificial oxygen to the person that needs it. And also, then outside the hospital also, ambulances need all those kind of things. The ones that they can use, those ones they pump. All of them they are all included in saving of life. So adequate power supply, readily availability of those oxygen tanks, and also in a way government needs to subsidize the prices of these things, because they are not cheap.
In case of an emergency, there is need for life to be revived, and sometimes in such a situation, if there is no oxygen plant around, that means oxygen will not be available, and in such a case, that means the mortality rate will be high. But if we have oxygen plants, that means a lot of lives will be saved in case of emergency. And how it will be sustained is that the government will now put in place oxygen plants in different places where oxygen will be produced. So through artificial production process, because oxygen is produced naturally. But when you now install some machineries and use the knowledge of science, it can be produced artificially. And in such a case, that means the volume of oxygen available will be much, and more life will be saved at the end of the day.
Oxygen plant is very, very important. For instance, if there is an accident, the victim might need oxygen. Immediately they rush the victim to the hospital. Another thing is that during labor, if the mother has a prolonged labor, the child might need oxygen. And without the oxygen being in the hospital, it's going to be a very big problem. So I believe that oxygen is very, very important. Then in terms of how to sustain it, government, like the one we have in Odunogo Teaching Hospital, Amat here, the government might provide. Then they might also do PPP, that's what they call it, private-public partnership, where the individuals, the influential individuals of the states might decide to also donate, so that at least it will be going. Oxygen is very, very important. Nobody can say otherwise.
Welcome back. It is still Good Morning, Anambra, and we are looking at the essence of our life, which is oxygen. By extension, the oxygen plant that we have in Anambra that is giving us life. Today is World Oxygen Day, and the theme for today is Breathe Better, Work Together. We're going to talk on this as I still have Dr. Anambra with me in the house and Wamaka Arinze. Did I get that? Okay, see you, ma'am. Okay, welcome. Okay, let's talk about today, what it's all about. Yes, let me start with you, Wamaka.
Okay, today is World Oxygen Day, celebrating oxygen and creating awareness about medical oxygen use at the hospitals and today, the programs we have mapped out for today is to go on a road walk. We have flyers and banners. And
Where are you walking from? What's your takeoff point?
okay, we're taking off from my office, Anambra State Oxygen Production Plant, Amako. We'll get to where...
Amako is inside the
teaching hospital.
Yes, inside the teaching hospital.
Okay.
So we walk from there to Aroma. We now sensitize the people on three things. One, for them to understand and know that the oxygen mask is not reusable. And for them to understand that the distilled water in the humidifier is not reusable. And for them to understand the reading on the regulator of the attached to the cylinder. When they are able to have this knowledge, they can assist. Maybe if the nurse is not available to, or assuming they get to the hospital and they're trying to administer oxygen to your person, and they're bringing a face mask, oxygen mask that has been used before, it is your responsibility to say, no, I think oxygen mask is not reusable. Can you give me a brand new one? The distilled water needs to be changed. And then you look at the reading to see that, oh, yes, there's enough oxygen in the cylinder. So we do the walk from Aroma, then from Aroma to Nkwameni through 6th Avenue to Ekoka. So when we get to this junction, we stop there, sanitize the people from Nkwameni to all the way to 6th Avenue to Ekoka Market. We stop there, do the sensitization from Ekoka to Kwata. We do the sensitization, then Kwata to Unizik Junction, we do the sensitization, and then back to the office. Remember that once any celebration...
Are you walking or driving?
We are walking...
You walk drive?
We walk drive. But we're going with Aziza. You know Aziza?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, so it's going to be...
Is it Aziza? What do you call it?
The vocalist.
Isa.
Okay. So we do all that. Then all through this week, we go to some hospitals.
Okay.
Give them the oxygen masks and educate them or refresh their mind, because I believe that medical professionals should be able to know how to use this. We remind them that this oxygen mask is not reusable, and also remind them that the water in that humidifier has to be distilled water and must be changed from one patient to another.
What do you mean when you say distilled water? Can you explain to our audience? Okay.
Distilled water is water that has been purified, by some chemical and mechanical processes in the factories that makes your water really a distilled water. It has to be free of germs, free of color, free of odor.
When I'm coming to the hospital, am I supposed to come with a distilled water?
No.
Okay, so how do I assess it?
No.
Are you talking to the hospital?
No, we are talking to the hospitals.
Oh,
yes, that
beautiful.
this thing has to be a distilled water, not just any water. When you tell them this thing has to be a distilled, they know what you mean by this thing being a distilled water, and they know where to assess it.
Okay.
Yes.
And why we're educating the masses to know about it, for them to see why you are at the hospital, you see them change the distilled water. You see them bring out that oxygen mask, open the pack, and then use it on your patients, because the one that has been hanging somewhere has been used before. Yes, because
if it's not from the packet,
yeah, it has to be a brand new one.
It has been used.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we thought the one we are saying, when we are talking before, you asked me if the oxygen is free. To the primary healthcare centers, Mr. Governor Professor Chachuku Masoludo CFR has actually made it free for the health centers. Remember, he has given a free antenatal care to Anambra, as well. He has given free oxygen. However, any ailment that oxygen is part of the treatment should not be treated at the health center. But why we need availability of medical oxygen at the health centers, because health centers are the main contacts. It's closer to the masses. Okay. So when they get to the place and present their case, at least there should be an oxygen there to be able to sustain them from the health center.
As a first aid.
It's a first aid. Sustain
Okay.
them to the secondary or tertiary institution. That's the essence of having the medical oxygen
Or
available.
or maybe a child is delivered there and needs oxygen.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes,
Okay.
so that's why. So thanks to Mr. Governor, Professor Asukumasolu, the CFR, for all his efforts in the Anambra. And the Anambra is quite appreciative of it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, before I come back to you on the activities of today, let me talk to the dog. Dog, when the theme of this today's celebration say, breathe better, work together, what does that mean?
Breathe better, work together. What it actually means is that if you don't breathe better, you're not going to work better. As simple as that. And then breathe better. What it means also is that there are situations that will make you not to breathe better. But we are saying no to those situations that will make you not to breathe better. And what are those situations? I have explained them before. The pneumonias, the asthmas, the cardiac failures, the unconsciousness, the apnea of babies, that you deliver a baby is not able to breathe or is breathing poorly. These are the situations we are awakening the entire world, particularly in Anambra State today, that these are common situations we live with. And they're often present in hospitals. So they have to breathe better, but they cannot breathe better if there's no oxygen. So that's the essence of today. And then when you breathe better, of course, the chances of your recovery is there. Remember, something made the individual not to breathe better. That's what Omaka is saying, that those persons may not require further treatment at the secondary facilities or tertiary facilities, but they have to receive the oxygen first somewhere that will sustain them, keep them alive, while the referral takes place.
Yes.
And then at the place where the referral has taken place, then the persons responsible, the clinicians, will have to find out why the person is not breathing well. That is what we are saying today, and that is the breathing better. So the oxygen is not only the treatment, but you have to treat the underlying situations that made the person not to breathe well. So that when he eventually breathes well, then he's going to work better.
Well.
Beautiful. Okay, you may want to add one or two things to breathe better, work better.
Well, the only what I'm going to add there is how we help ourselves. For example, we talked about this disease, we talked about the asthma and what have you, pneumonia. What are you're asthmatic. Why are you exposing yourself to your triggering points?
Which is cold?
Cold, dust, crowd, and what have you. Why are you exposing yourself? We haven't known your medical history. Help yourself in certain situations. Why are you always on the scene? Why are you always on an extreme situation or circumstance that can lead to rushing in and out and seeking for medical oxygen? You are pneumonia. Why will you be in the cold? You know you want to sleep under the AC. Have your sweater on. Have your blankets on. Don't go on bare shirt because you feel, I have paid NEPA and I need my AC, I need to use it. So don't cause problem for yourself. So we help ourselves and also help the doctors as well.
Of course.
Help the doctors as well. And save money as well.
Save money, save lives.
Save lives.
Very important. Okay, apart from the street walk, what other things do you have today to mark the oxygen today?
For today, it's just the walk and sensitization. Then from tomorrow till Friday, because all throughout this week is going to be
give us the week-long activity.
We have to go to some hospital,
okay,
enlighten them, remind them. I use that word, remind them, because as a medical professional, you should be able to know all those stages. But just to refresh their mind, remind them, and also share with them the oxygen masks that UNICEF actually sponsored.
Oh, really?
Yes, UNICEF. Thanks to UNICEF, they are the one that.
You share the hospital or you share to individuals?
No, to the hospitals. You don't give to individuals. Individuals are not supposed to administer oxygen to themselves.
Okay.
A medical professional needs to help them do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Fine.
So
tell us more about the, what do you call it, UNICEF provision.
Oh, okay. UNICEF is actually sponsoring today's World Oxygen Day by making provision of the refreshments, the regulator that we're going to give to the hospitals.
Refreshments?
Yes.
Item 7?
Yes.
I'll join.
The facial, the oxygen masks we're going to share to the hospital.
Okay.
And then they also supported us in the movement of the transportation to all this location.
Really?
So we are thanking them for that. And they also the radio and TV talk, sensitization. They're actually the sponsor for this year.
Really?
Yeah, so thanks to UNICEF for their efforts. We thank you very much. God bless you.
Okay, that's cool. Then continue the week-long activity, because I saw Governor there. I saw other names there. So what are they coming to do? Where are they gathering? And are they joining you for the walk?
Okay, yes, they were. If not that today is their ESCO day, the governor himself, or we may send a delegate, and the commissioner as well would have joined us in the walk.
Okay.
To sensitize the masses.
Okay, so the governor is the special guest of honor in the walk. Okay.
And the doctor from the Commissioner for Health is the chief host.
Okay. And then the sponsor is UNICEF.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you very much. Have you had anything like this before now? Did you do this last year?
No, we didn't do it last year.
Okay, so you have just started doing this to join them mark the day.
Yes, by next year
you're in charge of
oxygen. We'll reach out more by next year, because after the morning sensitization at the TV and radio, we'll do a sensitization at the markets, and then we'll do in Onitsha and Nnewi by next year. And we'll get out more, reach out to more people.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, Dr. Nieme, please, will you advise our people on how to live well, to even avoid oxygen? I mean, external oxygen, apart from the one we're just training here. Well,
the advice I will give to our people here is to avail themselves of what Mr. Governor has provided. The governor takes care of unborn babies, the mothers having those babies, and even those babies, their education up to primary school level and junior secondary. Yes. We have to use these things that has been made available. He's equipping our hospitals right now. He's building new ones. He's been given free antenatal and free delivery, including free cesarean sections. I'm proud to say it in the air. Including free cesarean sections. People have cesarean sections free now. So if he has made these things available, but at public facilities, he's here to bring in private facilities into it. Of course, nobody's expecting that, because our own, the ones we own collectively, has to function better first, so that people go there to access these services. It is probably certain that the use of oxygen will be there if there is need for it, because those things has to be there. So people have to. But then people have the choice of, well, I don't want to, my brother is a medical doctor, let me go to his own. My nephew is a medical doctor, my niece is a medical doctor. Fine, you are free to access private facilities, whom we are also sensitizing today about the use of oxygen. But then it's better that we use these things that government has provided for our own group, particularly when it is without a cost. What reason have we to give that you went to a wrong place and died when the government has provided something better for people to use, and you prefer to go to another place and die there? Nobody will be blamed for that. But then, the other thing we have to be telling our people there also, yes, oxygen is quite there as part of treatment we give to certain diseases, but it's also important that you even prevent the occurrence of those diseases in the first place. Just like the MD said, if you're asthmatic, there are exposures you don't have to give. Any adult who is asthmatic now must have heard from a doctor the things to do to lessen the occurrence of asthmatic attacks, and so on and so forth. If you're hypertensive, you don't have to allow your hypertension to develop to heart failure that make people to start giving you oxygen, or even develop cardiac arrest and so on and so forth. That might
go to hospital on time.
Go to hospital on time, so that you don't have need for people to start running helter-skelter looking for oxygen to give you. Where it is not available, are you going to kill anybody for not providing you oxygen? So while we are making efforts to provide this oxygen at the right places and at the right time. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. MD CEO Anambra Oxygen Plans. Would you please, okay, I just want to use this opportunity, give you this opportunity to thank the state government. You have thanked UNICEF. So also thank the state government and everybody that is making your work easy for you.
Well, thanks for that opportunity. I want to use this opportunity to thank Mr. Governor, Professor Charles Chukwumasolo, the CFR, Odenigbo, the man God has used to bring solution to the Anambra, for his efforts in building the healthcare system, making Anambra State livable, prosperous. For the Anambra, he has made the medical oxygen available 24/7. Affordable and accessible. It is not easy. Some other states doesn't have medical oxygen plants. But in Anambra State, Mr. Governor has made it available, accessible and affordable. at all times, 247. At all time, call us, we will attend to you. Hospitals, private hospitals and government hospitals. We even have trucks. Mr. Governor has provided cylinders. Yes, Mr. Governor provided 200 cylinders and more 300 are on the way coming. And he has also made available free to health centers.
You say you have trucks?
Yes, we have two
that
trucks.
Deliver?
Yes, that delivers, yes. Mr. Governor, we have 2 trucks that delivers to hospitals and medical facilities that have need for our products. You know, so all thanks to Mr. Governor for this effort and so many others he has been doing for the Anambra. Is it the road? Is it the educational sector? Name it. He has been doing well, and indeed, solution is here. So I'm very proud to be on Anambra, and most especially, I'm very proud to be part of this administration. I'm grateful, Mr. Governor. Thank you so much.
That's cool. So when they see you on the road as you go for your road walk, tell our people that this is who you are, so they shouldn't be scared. They should gather and listen to you, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much. Maka Arinze, CMM, MD/CEO, Anambra State Oxygen Production Plant. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Okay. I must say you are doing a good job there. And then thank you, Dr. Afam Anieme, Director of Public Health, Ministry of Health, Anambra State. You've been around and you have helped us secure a lot of lives. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, my sister, for giving us this wonderful space and opportunity.
Okay, thank you. And that's how we have seen it this morning as we looked at the role of oxygen plants in strengthening healthcare system in Anambra State. Thank you very much for joining us. Tomorrow morning we'll be here again. My name is Tijama. God bless you.